Alright, I'm back. Standing up this time. I'm not sure if I was getting proper flow of blood to the head. Probably, but yeah, sitting down and recording is a bummer. Alright, okay, so here this next topic is, let me just switch hands here. There we go. Now right-handed. Okay. Intelligence. Now what is intelligence? Is there a difference between intellect and intelligence? Typically it's the same thing. But you could say someone like Einstein exhibited great intelligence. But then you could also say that he pursued intellectualism, which is getting into philosophy and scholarly things and art and language and trying to put all those things together to come up with a excuse me, that was rude, but a type of amalgam, his own idiom. Yeah, that would be the difference, I think. So we get that out of the way. We come up with like science and intellect. Now, one thing I've noticed, get into deeper theories about concerning physics, and it's not just about this idea that you can simply calculate and be fruitful. What you also come up with is this idea that you must also be able to scale. Now, that's called a lateral. And laterals are used just in language also. It's difficult, but it's a worthy pursuit. I will be getting into language later. But yeah, the ability to scale out further and further as math becomes more and more intrinsic in its complexity. How about that one? Right. So then you have interspatial, and we know that the ability to see things in your mind's eye is necessary. It's also necessary for math. You know, it could be. Typically, seeing some types of math in the realm of, physics of like, say, harmonic analysis, and or you have transitory figures going through, let's see, like a what's called a parsec, where you have like 4 or 5 stater, but that's a very technical argument, right? So what we come up with is we have this idea of being able to actually see all that. Not really, but then yeah. If we're talking about engineering, this would be true. And then we come up with things like art and language. But really visualizing things. Um, the frontal lobes usually take care of all that stuff. It sort of like you're flipping around bits of data through the frontal lobes, and then that carriages into your mind's eye, and then that becomes your output. Yeah, basically. Um, so the idea is, with all this, why aren't animals able to do all this stuff? Are they? It seems like they have frontal lobes, but you never see monkeys writing out calculus, and that's very perplexing. You don't need language centers to be able to stick figure or write out things with a stick in the dirt that are very complex. Well, no. They're not using imagery, or you don't see monkey ancient art in cave walls or anything like that. Okay, so if monkeys don't or never could do such things, they just don't have any of the higher processes that we have. They don't have higher reasonings, just zero. They don't even have language centers, right, to actually speak as I'm speaking to you. So here's a problem I have. If we came from monkeys, and monkeys have a problem with logic, their logic centers are overdriven by primal instinct. So do they run off a program? Even though my hard-biting words about religion, people would never say that they are just merely programs. There's some people out there that get there. We just run off of a sequence, and we just think we're real. That's interesting, because I don't think I'm real, and I think you're real. Did I just say that wrong? I think I'm real, and I think you're real. And that's true. So we have, it's not about just sentience, where we have the tools to reckon life, right? And recognize ourselves in the mirror. That's not the point. The point is we have a consciousness, whether it's a very underdeveloped consciousness that is sort of like response stimuli kind of thing, or we've learned to become a caricature, or it's the furthest things on gold and, like the golden order kind of thing, where you have super conscious ideas, which would be, what some people think is tied in with wisdom. This ability to actually turn the consciousness in an upwards position and then hyper connect with the neurons. That's interesting. So there's so many things that are wrong about us coming from monkeys. So many things would have had to happen in such a short period of time, according to our current thinking. I just don't see it. You know, um, our bodies, growing up upright. Um, did our brains follow consciousness? Or did we grow consciousness out of logic centers that are no longer tied to primitive desires, such as the monkey? We're not a instinctual being anymore. We can get there. So if we're consciousness oriented and the brain is formed from a conscious standpoint, that means that somewhere along the line, we had help. Whether or not there is a creator is not my concern. Excuse me. That is completely incorrect. Whether there's a God is not my concern. If there's a creator capable of helping humanity along and creating people, this idea of saying, hey, why don't you bow down? Because that's what I created you for, is to glorify myself. Well, the argument just evaporates. It's a hostile thought. It's a thought of dominating and injuring people. And I know for a fact that the intellectual people, generally speaking, are more peaceable and content with themselves and willing to talk rather than use their fists. That's been proven to be true. So, something so vastly superior then, we could say, would not engage in any sorts of hostilities towards his or her creation. True. So, those are some interesting ideas that I've come up with for intellect. And, the intellectual, we have this idea that we have a reflexive. Do you think about the exact logic of everything you're doing at every moment? Absolutely not. We have a reflexive that allows us to pin. It's like a muscle memory and then a reflexive. We can pin our muscle memory for our logic, so we don't have to think about driving, but we know that we drive in a logical manner. We obey all the stop signs, obey the traffic lane, So, that idea right there is just the Pandora's box. That's a can of worms. Okay. So, is that our subconscious that allows us to operate in life without using logic directly for every single thing? For having to think about it. If I do this, then this may happen. No. Those are automatic. That is the marvelous nature of our brains. Thinking about it, pursuing spirituality for such a long time myself, in the fact that I've looked through all known symbols and have meditated on them for years and years and years, and questioned them and questioned myself and trying to fall back into my mind. Consciousness, the back of the mind, logic centers. You know, it's just too much. Something is telling me that we did not evolve. Something is saying that there was some type of creation event, and it's not just wishful thinking or nostalgia. I have eliminated that too. I've questioned that. So, some maybe find I'm supremely arrogant to say that there may be a creator, or I'm assured that there is some type of creative force out there, and then not bow down and worship it. Well, that's just a difference of opinion. Thank you.